Hello once again everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time joining me here today. Hi, my name is Hannah. I make a lot of different videos here on YouTube, sometimes story time, sometimes jewelry related, sometimes baby related. It's a mixed bag here. So if you are new to the channel, I highly recommend that you check out some of the playlists that I have. I like to believe that there's something for everybody, like I said, so definitely check those out. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So as you guys can tell, this is yet another story time about somebody who angered me. But anyway, let's actually get into it. Basically what happened is, if you guys are new, if you don't know, if this is your first video, I have a pretty big backyard. Me and my husband have a pretty big backyard, and the way that our yard is like, it kind of, in the back, it goes down. It's like we're kind of up on a hill and it goes kind of down. And so the very back of our fence is obviously in that bottom part, like where it goes down. And back there behind our fence, like off of our property, there's a huge wooded area, and we've never really known whose property it is. It's like behind the cul-de-sac and everything. Like, the cul-de-sac is on the other side of our house. Like, here's our house, the cul-de-sac is over here, so we're not really included in the cul-de-sac, but we're like on the side of it. So anyway, behind the cul-de-sac, behind our house, there's this huge wooded area. Well, we never really thought anything of it until, I would say, it was like right before Christmas. It was around Thanksgiving, Christmas, that time. It was cool outside. So anyway, we started noticing that late at night we would hear screaming, like hooping and hollering, a bunch of stuff coming from back there. And you know, it was all of a sudden. It wasn't like it's been like that since we moved in. It was all of a sudden. And so Dustin, when he would go outside with the dogs, sometimes he would come in, he'd be like, I think it's like teenage kids out there, like acting a fool and doing a bunch of stuff out in the woods. And so I was like, oh yeah, probably, like, you know how kids are. Like, it didn't bother me at first because it wasn't every single day. It was like on the weekends, stuff like that. So I'm like, whatever, you know, these teenagers are gonna be teenagers, like, I don't care. And so anyway, go on about my business. Well, eventually it starts getting more like every single night. These kids are going out there and they're screaming, they're hooping, they're hollering, and it starts to like terrorize and aggravate our dogs. And at one point, our dogs, because these people were like out there, like we couldn't see them, but they were obviously on the other side of our fence. They were back there. I could hear them yelling at our dogs, and our dogs were like beating down our fence. And it got to the point where our dogs broke boards in our back fence because these kids kept coming up to the fence and they were on the other side of the fence right there. Anyway, that it was freaking the dogs out, and the dogs were breaking boards to try to get to them. And my dogs are not little, okay? They're huge. My dogs are like close to 100 pounds, and there's 2 of them. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of scared. Like, I don't like that. And like I said, they broke the boards. We ended up having to get fence replaced. It was several $100s because we needed a lot of boards replaced. So it was making me angry. Well, we have this app, it's called Nextdoor, and our whole neighborhood and the neighborhoods around us are on the Nextdoor app. So I posted on there, and basically all I said was, if your teenagers are going behind, you know, our address in the woods back there, I don't know whose property it is, but if it's your property and these are your teenagers going out there, please tell them not to do it so late at night, or don't make so much noise, or just don't come near our fence because we have big dogs. You know, I explained the situation. I didn't want anybody to get hurt. That was my concern. It was freaking the dogs out. I was scared they were going to get loose. And if they bit one of these teenagers or something, thinking that they're trying to get in our yard, I would be responsible. Me and my husband would be responsible for that. And I'm not trying to get sued. So that's basically what I said on there. You know, I said, I have these big dogs. I don't want them to get out. Please, if these are your teenagers and like this is legal that they're going out there, then please tell them just to not come up to our fence, like, avoid it, please. And if these are your teenagers, like if you know who these kids are and this is not their property, which I didn't think that it was because it has posted signs back there. If this is not your property, then you're like trespassing, and that's really not good, okay? And basically I said, if you are trespassing and you're continuing to cause problems, if this continues, I will call the police after 10 o'clock, I think, is when the noise ordinance kicks in. So basically I said, if these kids are out there past 10 o'clock and I can call the police about it, I'm going to, because I would rather the police come out there, talk to these kids, kind of scare them a little bit, and that be the end of it, than these kids continue to be out there. My dog ends up getting loose because they're coming up to the fence and then somebody gets hurt. I would rather the police come and like scare them than my dog end up hurting somebody, and that's how it ends. Like, I would rather just avoid anybody getting hurt by my dogs, because if it wasn't for the dog situation, I wouldn't care. You can go back there and scream and holler all hours of the night. It doesn't bother me. But when my dogs start freaking out and trying to break through the fence because you're coming up to the fence and all this, then we have a problem, because I start getting concerned about what's going to happen if my dog gets out. So anyway, I posted that on the Nextdoor app, and I was immediately like bum rushed by a ton of comments. And I kind of expected that, because we live in like a small-ish cul-de-sac area. Like, I kind of expected that we would get a lot of comments, and basically they were a mixed bag. There were some people being like, yeah, that should be really dangerous. Like, if your dog gets out because they're coming up to the fence, that's not good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like, that's kind of scary. Like, if your dog gets out, you know, like, it just freaks me out, the concept of that. And then there were other people whose comments I just really didn't understand. Like, there was this one guy who was saying that it's better for kids to be out there in the woods hanging out than to be at home playing video games. Like, it doesn't really click in my head, because I literally don't care that they're out there. I care that they keep terrorizing my dogs. I don't care that they're out there. I don't care if they go outside. I don't care if they stay inside. It doesn't matter. Like, here's the point, and it just went over your head. You know, like, you completely missed it. And then there were other people saying, like, sounds like your dogs are the problem. You need to learn how to train your dogs. Somebody please show me a dog that if you walk up to the fence of their house and start like terrorizing them and messing with them, show me a dog that is not going to freak out and try to break the fence down at that point. I don't care what kind of dog you have, unless it's like a trained service dog or something like that. Any dog, especially a large dog, a territorial dog, is going to try to break that fence down and get that person on the other side that's messing with them and trying to get in their space. So anyway, after I had these people basically saying, like, you need to mind your own business, blah, 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 these kids are just going in the woods, blah, 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 blah. Well, the very next day, I actually happened to catch a video of two teenagers coming up to my fence. I guess they didn't see me, but they were coming up to my fence and like looking over and messing with the dogs. Okay, so I posted that on Nextdoor, and I was like, if these are your children, please tell them not to do that, because like they literally that day got off the school bus. I heard them walking back there. Okay, and so I'm just like, I can see you, I can hear you. And they walked up to the fence, and then as soon as they saw me, because I was standing on my porch looking directly at them, as soon as they saw me, they took off back in the woods. So it's like, okay, I see y'all. I know that y'all just got off the school bus. I don't know what y'all are doing back there, but let me tell you, it was a suspicious odor. I'll tell you that much. I'll let you connect those dots. There was a suspicious odor coming from back there. And look, I don't care what you do. I literally don't care. Just leave my dogs alone. It's not that hard. Just leave them alone. Go about your business. But no, y'all hear and see dogs, and y'all have to come up to the fence. Okay, these are huge dogs. Leave them alone, because they will break the fence and they will try to come get you. So please stop doing that. Basically, that's what I said on Nextdoor again. Now that seemed to kind of clear up any issues of people being like, don't call the police on these teenagers, you're being like an old lady, blah, 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 blah. I don't care if I sound like an old lady. I don't want these children to get bit by my dogs because they're being stupid and walking up to the fence. Like, what's not clicking here? I don't get it. I don't get how you could construe that to mean that I hate teenagers and I don't want them to have fun and go out in the woods and do whatever. I literally could care less. Or could not care less, actually. I could not care less because I don't care what they do. I just want them to leave my animals alone. So anyway, this kind of went back and forth for a little while, but I did happen to find out, somebody posted in there, that the land is actually owned by a very wealthy family in the area that a few roads are named after. And it has actually come up that these teenagers have been back there breaking hunting equipment, breaking other equipment that has been stored out there. I don't know if it's just stored in sheds or what, but they've been breaking stuff. And so, yeah, there's more and more posted signs that were put up in that like time period. So I found out that that's who owns that land, and after that, the teenagers miraculously stopped going back there, which that wasn't my, purpose. My purpose was pretty much just to be like, hey, leave my dogs alone, but whatever it takes. I mean, there's numerous parks in the area, okay? There are numerous hiking trails in the area. Go somewhere else. Go stay in your home, do something, I don't know, but like just leave my dogs alone. Thank you guys so much for joining me again today. Leave me a like if you liked the video, comment down below, tell me if you guys have had any similar stories. I know this is kind of a niche story time, but anyway, and don't forget to subscribe because I make new videos every Monday and Friday. Thank you guys once again so much for joining me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.